All right, hello everyone. Um, so it's been a minute since the last devlog I did a week or so ago. I've been mainly focused on fixing some high priority issues with Glider Sim and adding a couple new features there. But I still plan to work on this skydiving prototype here a couple day or two a week here. Um, but as you see, I got the character in Glider Sim, and he can run around and walk around and jump. As you see, we have our ghost shadowing us. That is the physics object. So if I press, let's see, if I press this object, the ragdoll, enter the ragdoll mode. Um, this works for the most part. I'm having some issues like being able to jump when I want to and not having. Oh, by the way, I can switch cameras. So I got the cameras hooked up. And I also had to create a separate controller scheme for this. So it's different controls than Glider Sim. I need the whole first person walk around controller scheme. And here you can see I'm in first person mode and can run around and jump. But it got me thinking, this character right now, when it's on the ground, is controlled by a character controller, which is like the primary way you're supposed to do characters walking around in Unity, in the Unity game engine. But it got me thinking perhaps the physics should be tied to an actual physics object instead of manually, controlling the velocity and the jump and the gravity and everything, instead of hard coding that all into the character controller. If it was all controlled by one physics object, I'm thinking that might work better. How to have a character walk around being a rigid body physics object is going to be a bit tricky, but I kind of have some ideas. So I'm going to try and experiment with that, because then we could jump. It would be full-fledged physics object with the correct gravity values. And then I'm thinking we could attach some wing segment objects for the drag and maybe even a little lift. So when they jump, it'll automatically enter that physics mode since it's already a physics object. And then it's down to applying drag and lift based on where the hands and the limbs would be. So I think I'm going to try and prototype something real quick. All right, a few hours later. Okay, so I got tired of working in VR, having to put the headset on, so I hooked up. I could walk around now with the keyboard. And it still basically works the same as VR. For instance, we could still move the hand position just by changing our XR controller position. So that's cool. Hopefully we can get the Skydive sim working outside of VR as well. So, and it really helps with productivity, not having to put the headset on every play test. But anyways, I think we might have something working here. It is pretty much like the character controller we had before, but now it is full physics. So when I run and jump, this is all real physics with a rigid body. And it's basically a rigid body with rotation constraints. So if I turn the constraints off, you can see what happens. Let's see. He just kind of tips over. Let's see if we can get them running faster. And then turn it off. Okay, so I was tweaking the values a little bit. The run speed and the rotation and whatnot. And I also added, so if he jumps and he's off the ground for more than a second, it goes into no constraints. And I was just kind of testing it here. And I also added it so you could still add torque while you're in the air. And I don't know, it kind of feels cool. I don't know how realistic this is. Are you able to apply torque to your body while you're free falling? It just kind of feels cool though. You could jump and turn. I might want to add the ability to see if I could do like a front flip or something. Jump and like do a front flip. I'm just gonna try it really quick. Let me see what I come up with. Alright, I got it working. So yeah, you can apply torque while in the air, but now you could also apply forward torque. So when we jump, we could apply forward torque. Yeah! And it feels pretty cool. Let's see. Go back to first person. So we can run. But yeah, I could see having the forward torque while in the air is pretty cool. Let me just try that again. I think I'm standing on more of a bigger cliff here. Let's see what happens if I run. Woo! Yep. Feels pretty cool. Yeah! Flip, flip, flip. Yeah, I think that might work. Someone who's actually done skydiving can tell me more if that's possible to have that momentum in the free fall like that. But the next step now, which I could try, is we'll hook up like a wing segment to the body so we get a little drag and maybe even a little lift to kind of get that forward free fall physics. And so let me see what I can do with that. All right, good morning, y'all. It is the next day here. Last night I was trying to figure out why these wing segments, I couldn't get them to work, and finally found the issue in the code. So basically I attached some wing segments to the character. They are these rectangle things, and they basically simulate lift and drag, just like a wing on an aircraft. This is kind of big. The wing segments are big for a character, so this will simulate more like a wingsuit, which it does. I'm going to go ahead and jump and show you how the wing segments will catch some lift and drag. Hopefully I can get a good jump here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's see. Nose down. Gain some speed. Yeah, we're starting to gain some lift. You'll notice the camera is like straight down. We need to fix that issue because I'd like to see what's happening in front of me. Whoa. A little. Yeah, the physics needs, you know, some tweaking, but nonetheless, it's working like a wingsuit. Whoa. Yeah. Yo. Yeah, you could even nose up like this, and then you would like deploy the canopy there. But instead, we're just going to fall to our death. I also wanted to show you if we do it again. All right, let's try this again and see if I can demonstrate this. Okay, and jump. All right, nose down. Woo, 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 woo. See if we can even out here. Just kind of want to get even, and then I'll show you. So when I move the position of this wing segment, it kind of has a dramatic effect on the physics. So I'm thinking this wing segment can like represent the arm and the hands, and so when you move them, it'll be interesting to see if you'll be able to control based on the drag from the hands and the arms. So next, I'm just gonna kind of figure out. Okay, we can stop here, buddy. Let's figure out this camera angle first, then I'll mess with different wing segments on the arms and hands. Okay, that camera issue was a little more trickier to figure out than I anticipated. And still having to tweak it, but for the most part, it will follow the character. And it's based off his velocity. So yeah, it feels pretty cool once this angle is in place. Feels like I'm a superhero or something. Flying. Can even do like a barrel roll. Woo! It's kind of hard to keep them stable, but feels pretty awesome for the most part. You can even go up. You can even backflip, which I don't think is possible, but I know in a wingsuit, whoa, you have to flare, so flare up, wait for the stall, and then pop. That's when you would deploy the canopy. Do a couple flips maybe, then deploy your canopy. Yep. And we're back on the ground. So that feels pretty cool having that camera in there. I am having some issues where you travel too far. The floating origin's broken, and I'm trying to figure that out here now. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode. Next episode... Oh gosh, I'm not going to make it. Oh, we can recover. Oh yeah. Oh, we could try to hit the good old crack. Yeah, that's basically for this episode. Next we'll try and add some drag and lift properties to the arms and see what we could do with that. And then see what it's like controlling the character in VR. Actually having the using the torque values to control the yep, here we hit the floating origin problem. But yeah, having the torque values feel pretty cool, but not sure if that's realistic or not, but I'll play with having some drag and whatnot attached to the hands as well. So see you in the next one.